this was filmed. It is going to be coming out way later than I filmed it though, so I finished Bookshops and Bonedust. I don't think I showed you when I started it. I think I was talking about it, but I didn't actually film and show you me starting it. I know I kind of said, should I read Skyborn or Bookshops and Bonedust? First, I remember kind of thinking, okay, which one do I do? And then people were like, read Skyborn first, and I was like, that's kind of where I was leaning. So, Bookshops and Bonedust came after. Dragons of Deceit, which we all know how that went. So, usually after I don't like a book, it takes me a long time to get to read something as quickly as I did Bookshops and Bonedust, but I have been enjoying my new sort of accelerated pace of reading. I have read quite a lot, quite quickly too. Recently, like Skyborn, I got through that quickly. Dragons of Deceit, I kind of, by the end of it I was skimming, but I read that quickly. Now Bookshops and Bonedust, I read quite quickly. So, I think reading is quickly becoming one of my favorite kinds of pastimes. This thing has such a weird cover, and the sounds that it makes, it's not like a typical book tapping sound. So, as usual, this is a review. This is a book review. I actually finished this on New Year's Eve. It worked out perfectly that it was like, we need to go. And I was like, I have 3 pages left. So it just worked out awesome in that way, where I kind of just, I finished it quicker than I wanted to. But I'm very happy that I got to the end of it, because this book, I'm in love. I'm in love. Is this book, like I talked about in my year in review video, the 3 books that I think were the best that I read last year, which is weird to say now, 2024. And those were Locklands, A Spear Cuts Through Water, The Spear Cuts Through Water, and The Galaxy. No, not The Galaxy and the Grand Within. That's the, oh shit. A Record of a Spaceborne View. I always mix those 2 titles up. Those remain my 3. This is battling with Locklands for the 3rd spot. It is not action-packed. It is not trying to do anything big or epic or grand. In fact, that is what the kind of opposite of what it's trying to do is. Like on the back, high fantasy first loves and secondhand books. Viv is a young battle-hungry orc, but her career with a notorious mercenary company, Rackham's Ravens, isn't going as planned. Wounded during the hunt for a powerful necromancer, she's packed off against her will to recuperate in the sleepy beach town of Merc. So far from the action that she worries she'll never be able to return to it. What's a thwarted soldier of fortune to do? Spending her hours at a beleaguered bookshop in the company of its foul-mouthed proprietor is the last thing Viv would have predicted, but it may be both exactly what she needs and the seed of changes she couldn't possibly imagine. Still, adventure isn't all that far away. A suspicious traveler in gray, a gnome with a chip on her shoulder, a summer fling, and an improbable number of skeletons prove Merc to be more eventful than Viv could have ever expected. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, sorry. And it is quite far back in Viv, the main character's life, to when she started out as a mercenary, not when she was retiring to open up her coffee shop. So, this book, its entire thing is slow down and just read. watched that review video in Curious Tides, I cannot tell you how many times the main character had ice shoot through her veins, because that's the only fucking reaction that she ever had. But this book is a master class in how to write. Like, I understand the challenge that authors have to face, because how many ways can you possibly describe something? Somebody smiling at something, and obviously in a book that is like 300 pages long, you need to say, oh well, Viv grinned a couple of times at least, because in naturalistic human interaction we grin every now and again. That's just how it happens, even in single conversations. So I don't envy the challenge that writing must be, but Travis Baldree has the formula. Like, this book, I think I like the whole thing of Legends and Lattes better. I love the writing of this book just a little bit more. Legends and Lattes was so much fun to read, and it was just like this cute little tale, and she's building a shop and all that kind of stuff. She's hiring a baker, and but this book, I think, there is more. You can tell that Travis Baldree is like a professional author, and I know that Travis Baldree isn't actually a professional author. Well, now he could be considered so, because he has to be a bestseller. Yeah, he is New York Times bestselling author. I know that's not a huge accomplishment to reach, but it is an accomplishment. Like, I know that the publishing industry tries to like game that system, but I would say that Travis Baldree is very much deserving of that, because Travis Baldree writes like, I would love to see the world through Travis Baldree's eyes, because his writing is rich, it's descriptive, it's like, how can you make peeling paint feel like I'm reading about this paint peeling and this smelly bookshop, but the way that it is described to me is this very immersive. It's very, like, you just, you can really grab onto this writing and get something from it, which I really like, because this story, if it were not so richly detailed, if it was not so eloquently described, would be just fairly normal. It's somebody spending a little summer in a town while they recuperate from an injury. It's like, okay, that's cute, but just the way that Travis Baldree writes it, it's perfect. The elevator pitch for this novel, I could not imagine it would be incredibly difficult to try to sell this to somebody, but as soon as you open it and you just feel the quality of this writing, it is like, this should honestly be study material for like I said, it came along at a perfect time, because this book is, I would say, a treatise on the value of reading, the love of story, and I would say, I don't know, obviously this is me making like conjecture, I guess, but I would say Travis Baldree. In the acknowledgements, it says that this book is like the third or fourth attempt at a sequel or something else in the Legends and Lattes sort of universe. But I would say this book feels more deeply personal to Travis Baldree. I feel like Travis Baldree is speaking through the characters of this book about what the importance of reading is and the importance of story and what it can offer, and it's wonderful. And I think I really feel that. I really feel the importance of that, and this book kind of helped me reflect on it, which I'm happy about. It's got those like frilly pages, like, you know, that they're not uniform. They look a little bit like they're like a hand-bound book. I don't know how to describe it, but like, you know, these books that their pages aren't completely flat like that. I also really like that detail. It's kind of hard to flip the pages, but I do like it. So this book, I honestly, it might be my top 3 of last year. Probably has to be a top 4, and this would probably go ahead of Locklands, now that I'm really thinking about it. The characters in Travis Baldree's book are always so real and fun, and when this is going to be a Pitts chapter, I love it. When this is going to be a Melee chapter, I love it. Like, whenever, even like an Iridia chapter, I'm like, I want to know what happens next. I really like it. Or if this is going to be a Balthus chapter, if this is going to be a Satchel chapter, if this is going to be a Galena chapter. Every single character in this book is so natural and wonderful, and Travis Baldree also really does a great job at knowing how to write realistic interaction, and understands how to write intimate character moments. Not like intimate, you know, but like personal character moments. It's fantastic. It's such a good book. If you don't like something slow, if you need action in a book, don't go for it. But what action there is in this book is incredibly richly written. Again, it's descriptive, it's evocative. I can see it, I can feel it, I can smell the smells, I can feel the strain in Viv's muscles. It's just, Travis Baldree has something nailed down. He's got something good going on, and I really hope that he's got a bright future as an author, because these have been absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's already been a year and a bit since Bookshops and Bonedust. So, I mean, selfishly, I'm hoping that there's something more on the horizon. I want him to take time, though. I want more quality work like this. It's so good. It's the same thing with Simon Jimenez and The Spear Cuts Through Water. I would wait for 5 years for another book, because if that's what it takes to pump out a masterpiece like that, I'm happy to wait. I really, like, I know that I would do, like, I did a breakdown of Skyborn, and I did a breakdown of Dragons of Deceit to, like, tell you, like, about the characters, about the whatever, but truly, this book is the full package. Its plot is really nice. It's slow, yes, but it's being advertised as slow as comforting. I think that it is very comforting. I think it is very reflective. I say that someone could have a great time self-reflecting on, like, what is a journey like? Who are the people that we are through our lives? And seeing Viv after she retired first in Legends and Lattes to now when she's just starting her career as a mercenary. I think that's very interesting. I think it's interesting to get a different perspective on this character because eventually I know the person that Viv becomes, and seeing her so different than who she is in Legends and Lattes, I think again is a very wonderful reflective exercise in saying, oh, that's where, like, this truly is an origin story. This is where the woman that Viv becomes begins. It just takes a long time for it to draw to the point of fruition. Spoilers, I guess, for this book, because this book does have spoilers. From here on out, I think her romance with Maylee is fantastic. It's cute, it's short, it's sweet, it's bittersweet. Maylee has a wonderful sense of growing. She is kind of like a decade ahead of Viv in terms of that, like, little maturity piece, like what she wants to do, how she went from mercenary to baker. Satchel, fantastic character, absolutely lovely. Vareen, the necromancer, oh, I loved the action scene in this book. The action scene close to the end of this book is absolutely wonderful. I love Iridia. Iridia is such a good character. Hylark is really cool. Lady Greatstrider is also really cool. I just love it. This book is so wonderful. If you need something to just sit back and relax and feel good with, this is the book. If you like reading about reading, if you like reading that makes you reflect on what you love about reading, what you love about story, this is the book for you. If you like a little bit of magic, this is the book for you. If you are a Dungeons and Dragons fan, I would say these books, Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bonedust, are wonderful for that. They are not official material, obviously, but they just, it makes you just, this is the only book, funny because I just read a Dungeons and Dragons, like, official Dragonlance novel. This feels more like a Dungeons and Dragons adventure than that did, which kind of tells you something about Dragons of Deceit. This, I understand why they put pot roast on here, and then they also led with this quote being, every book is a little mirror, and sometimes you look into it and see someone else looking back. I love it. And then the next one says, see you in the story past the story. I would like to see a story about Viv as a mercenary, but like I said, if it's more sort of low-key, cozy novels, I'm happy about it. I remember I expressed that I was worried that this book kind of breaks from the continuity of Legends and Lattes. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It is too far removed for it to. If you're an eagle-eyed viewer, maybe, but whatever. It's awesome. It's fantastic. It is a fantastic addition to the sort of Baldree-verse. Travis Baldree-verse. I'm going to coin that right now. So, those are my thoughts on Bookshops and Bonedust. Sometimes a book is so good that you just need a 20-minute, like a really quick little, I loved it. It's so good. It makes me very happy. It makes me smile. It just makes me feel like it was a breath of fresh air, especially after Dragons of Deceit, which we all know how that went. If you watched the video, hey, go watch that video. Engagement farming. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the books. That I'll be reading next. This one, The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero La Cruz. one says, two women embark on an unforgettable quest in this sweeping fantasy debut inspired by the history and folklore of South America. It is. I have read just a little bit of it. You can kind of see where my bookmark is. This book is very Spanish. It is very, 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 very South American inspired. And it's quite clear. That inspiration is quite clear. It is very fantasy. There are rules in this universe. There's etiquette in this universe. It's very, like, I'm excited to dive into a very unique fantasy world. Not that Skyborn wasn't, but Skyborn was definitely a very, like, it is unique and creative. I'm not saying that, but this book seems to be a little bit more out of left field, especially in the world of fantasy publishing. But fantasy publishing seems to want to kind of try to branch out a little bit more lately, which I'm very happy about. This gives me kind of like a Black Sun, Fevered Star, like by Rebecca Roanhorse, if you know those books. It feels a little bit like that, where there is a very unique and I would say fresh angle on everything, and the rules are very, like, not what you expect from traditional Western fantasy, which I enjoy. But Reina is desperate, stuck on the edge of society. Reina's only hope lies in an invitation from a grandmother she's never met, but the journey to her is dangerous, and prayer cannot always avert disaster. Attacked by creatures that stalk the mountains, Reina is on the verge of death until her grandmother, a dark sorceress, intervenes. Now dependent on the Dona's magic for her life, Reina will do anything to earn and keep her favor, even the bidding of an ancient god who whispers to her at night. Eva Casare is unwanted, illegitimate and of mixed heritage. Eva is her family's shame. She tries to be the perfect daughter, but Eva is hiding a secret. Magic calls to her. Eva knows she should fight the temptation. Magic is the sign of the dark god, and using it is punishable by death. Yet it is hard to ignore the power when it has always been denied you. Eva is walking a dangerous path, and in the end, she'll become something she never imagined. I'm very interested in it. It's not very quick yet, but it is about 600 pages, so I'm hoping that my pace continues. I read Legends and Lattes, Bookshops and Bonedust fairly quickly. Like, I don't know, I think maybe within 3 weeks or something like that. So this one then should probably take like 6 weeks. I don't know, unless I go quicker with it. My pace did pick up as I kept reading Bookshops and Bonedust, so hopefully I get into it a little bit more like this. But I'm quite excited for a unique fantasy experience, because I love fantasy. I do. I really love fantasy literature. And I also have a great motivation, because once I finish The Sun and the Void, I have When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. I saw this in Indigo. Oh, excuse me, my gosh. I saw this in Indigo. Oh, I fell in love with this cover. Like, oh my god. Like, bitch, really? Look at how gorgeous it is. I love it. So this one I am very excited for. It's rooted apparently in Slavic folklore, which I think is very interesting. I am not acquainted with that at all, so it'll be kind of interesting to see. So I'm excited to get to it. So like I said, I hope that kind of motivates me through The Sun and the Void, and I also just hope that the story will end up motivating me through The Sun and the Void, because this thing is like, it's not as big as my head, but it's close. It's huge, but I'm very excited for it. Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for indulging too late for me